Jérôme. I will tell you today how we went from a leasing company to a new business model being manufacturing cars in Belgium. And before that I will just introduce a little bit more. Is it pointer or something we can use? Yeah. I'm working for a Belgian holding company, being active in 3 different sectors. We're selling gas and electricity in Belgium. We are providing ICT services to companies in Belgium, and we are also active in the mobility industry. We've been renting cars on the long terms for 40 years now, and a couple of years ago we started to look into electric mobility, because as most of the people here in the room will be convinced that electric cars are part of tomorrow's complex matrix of mobility. However, what we saw when we started to look at it 4 or 5 years ago is that an electric car is perfect for traveling from your home to your workplace on average 40 kilometers a day, even though it's a traffic jam. I mean, an electric car doesn't consume much, so you can stay hours in traffic jam, no problem, you can do that on the day. But during the weekends, I mean, in Belgium, and I guess it's the same overall, you like to go a bit further than city, you like to travel a bit, city trips, going hiking in the mountains or in the Ardennes in Belgium, or going to the coast. And there, you become to have problems, because the autonomy of the car, it's on average 100, 120 kilometers, and there, up and down for the weekends, you would be traveling on average 250, 300, depending where you go. And then of course, 2 or 3 times a year, for the lucky of us, we're going south, we're going to the beaches, we're going to the ski slopes, and there you need to travel 800,000 kilometers a day, even though with the supercharger, your driving time is become longer than it was when you were driving your diesel vehicle. But the good thing is, there is one segment which is interesting for electric mobility, and already today. And this is the small distance transportation segment. Yeah, you would say, and you would argue, yeah, what would I do with my car if I only stuck to that segment? Yeah, then maybe you think a little bit too close, because there are a lot of vehicles which are only driving that distance. And typically professional vehicles being used for different types of services, typically in cities or in, let's say, living areas. And I'm thinking about postal services, package deliveries. I'm thinking about municipal services, bringing the signals in the streets. I'm thinking about large sites, industrial sites, hospitals, where facilities need to be done on the different buildings. I'm thinking about leisure parks, campings, and stuff like that. So we started to focus on those clients. Then, second aspect of electric mobility, which is, let's say, a break to the expansion of electric cars, is the fact that the investment costs are so high. But that also can be overcome by looking at the total cost of ownership of those vehicles. Because if the investment cost is very high, then over the life of the car, basically, you would pay less in maintenance, you would pay less in fuel, and you would pay less in tax. So if you look at the global picture, then you see that the difference is not that significant anymore. And if you can bring that into a leasing contract over the tenure of the contract, then you see that the difference is becoming very tiny. And that's what we did. We started up within Wesley's, a department focusing only on electric vehicle, and I'm responsible for that one. And it's called Buddy. What we did is, we looked into the market for relatively cheap vehicles, implementing the technologies of today. So we're talking about lithium batteries, we're talking about vehicles with having a range of 80 kilometers, so typically matching, let's say, the segments we were looking at, and we started to rent them. The problem with those niche players, because they are not mainstream car manufacturers, they are coming from all over Europe, but they don't have a network with concessions, distributors, garages, and everything. So when there is a problem, when your car needs to have after-sales services, the Only way to solve that is to go on the spot. I need also to tell that most of our clients, they're not driving on the road, although those vehicles are homologated, so you could drive everywhere, but most of them are using on private places. Think about big industries, think about leisure parks, they don't need to go on the streets. So why would they pay for an inspection? So it means that when there is a problem, you need to find a flying doctor that could come on the spot, repair the car, and allow the vehicle to drive again. Because those vehicles are very important for the service using them. It's part of their whole business model. So they cannot afford, like a golf could, saying, okay, a golf cart is is not working. Okay, put it aside. I go hiking for the day, or I take another one. No, there they need the car every day. The car needs to leave the warehouse at 8 in the morning or 7, let's say, and back in at the end of the day. Can be recharged overnight and done every day which follows. Meaning that they cannot afford to have an outage of more than 2 days. So what did we develop? We built up our own ticket platform, meaning that every user of the car could just log in, identifying the car, and then mention what the problem is. And basically it was working good, and I've also to admit that it was working good for the mechanical problems. You have a problem with your tires, you have a problem with the direction, you have a problem with whatever. Given that the cars are not that far away from the cars we're all driving, a technician, a local one, can easily identify the defect, mention it there, so that we can send someone on the road with the technical van and repair the problem on the spot. But when it comes to an electric problem or electronic problem, then there's no way for the technician to diagnose, the local one. The only possibility we have is to send someone there to read the system with a computer, and hopefully he's got the part with him in the van. Otherwise, he needs to go back to the office or to the magazine and then take the part and go back to the spot. And that's economically, it's not that efficient. So we needed to find another way. Yeah, it's about Internet of Things. So we were looking into our packets and we said, oh, I mean, we have, let's say, transmission of data everywhere. We have that with us. Why couldn't we have that on a vehicle that costs about 20,000 euros? So what we did as a car rental company, we went to the different suppliers we had, and we said, guys, we have that problem, you have that problem, because, I mean, they were going on the spot. What about putting those systems that could read directly the system, the electronic, and sending the error codes? And the answers we get is, it's not a priority for us. We're selling cars, we're not technological companies. So we said, okay, fair enough. We will then need to do that ourselves. To cut a long story short, it was not the only problem with those cars. So we had other mechanical issues that we also bundled into new specs, and we developed our own electric vehicle. And that's the Addax vehicle that's also presented outside. It's the first prototype. We are 4 prototypes further now. We are going to be homologated. The homologation test has been completed this summer, so we're going to start production end of the year. But what we put it in there, it's a module transmitting all information directly to us. And the reason for that is twofold. So I told you about the fact that for after-sales services, it was very important to know where the vehicle was, what was the issues to get the error codes live, but also for putting those vehicles into a broader picture. What about we're discussing today could be interesting for the users as well, and for the owner of the vehicle, if we put those cars in leasing, to know where the vehicles are. For the leasing company, if there is no payment coming, to stop the vehicle, but it will not start the next day. To know who's driving the vehicle. For municipality, to say, okay, it's Peter who's driving around. Also to see where the vehicle is when, for instance, there is an issue signaled somewhere in the neighborhood, so they can send the vehicle which is the closest to the point. That's basically the concept we were looking at when we developed the Addax vehicle. And that's all for me. If you have
Thank you.
a question.